Joe Bonamassa. Never miss your chance to know what the latest sports news is in town. Chances to win tickets and knowing what is going on with all your favorite KFAN shows. Follow KFAN 1003 on all our social channels like Instagram, TikTok, and X now. Stay connected and follow the sports leader, KFAN.
Matt Walker, head coach, University of Wisconsin, River Falls, was our guest. In case you missed it, it was just the other side of the break. You know, and he talked about the block. This is Division III quarterback. He says he thinks he can play at the next level. Someone just texted me and said, you remember Kenny Anderson played for the Cincinnati Bengals, had a very long, very productive, great career as a quarterback. I'm told by this text messenger he played at NCAA Division III Augustana. Now, I don't know if that's correct or not, but it can happen.
Sure.
I mean, it's not an impossibility. So good luck to him and the rest of you.
Adam Thielen played at St. Cloud State.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Played at St. Cloud State, kid from Thief River Falls. And he had he's still playing. He had a couple of key catches in that game against the Ravens. Catch. How about that? He can after his career say, I caught balls from a lot of different quarterbacks, including A-Raj. Time for 5-3-4 now on the fan.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Question number 1. It's time now for the lowdown in Dinkytown.
The Gopher men's basketball team upset number 19 Iowa 70-67 last night at the Barn. Minnesota now 10-5 overall, 9-0 at the Barn, and 3-1 in the Big Ten. And they've won 5 consecutive games. The Gophers, who lead the nation in assist percentage, had 15 assists on their 22 made baskets against the Hawkeyes. Langston Reynolds had 22 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block shot. He also drew 7 fouls. Common, are you starting to believe in the maroon and gold?
The only college athletic story more impressive than that one was the one we just talked about, Matt Walker's University of Wisconsin River Falls team winning the Natty in Division III football. That's a big win. You know, Iowa, Arch, we know all about the border battle. Arch, they were ranked 19th in the country. That's 2 ranked teams the Gophers have knocked off. Chip Scoggins, my close personal friend, we text and talk more than most people know. We're both live in Woodbury, spent a lot of time at high school basketball games together, and he's been a frequent guest here in studio. Matter of fact, we should have him on again sometime soon, Tenby, in the next couple of weeks. Have him come on in for an hour if he'd like to, maybe on one of those days where Rosen isn't here. And I read that they have 2 starters they've lost to injury for the season, I think. They only go 7 deep right now. They had kids that played, there was at least 2 or 3 starters that played all 40 minutes of the game, and they do the old, we're ready to play more. Now, I don't know if you can, if that's sustainable throughout an entire Big Ten season, because as we know, the Big Ten's a pretty rugged physical conference. But that's pretty impressive. And, the Medved guy came with good credentials. Ben Johnson, great guy. I don't think he was a bad coach. It just wasn't working. They decided to make a change. The Medved guy, originally from here, we all know the story. He's come in here and he runs it. Isn't it called the Princeton offense? Wasn't the University of Princeton was the first one to do that, where you're just constant motion, moving the ball, very unselfish. That assist stat you're talking about is very impressive. That most of their baskets are a result of getting a pass from somebody else. You got to buy into that too. It's not, if there's no hero ball when you're playing that kind of offense, and as long as the kids can buy into that, I don't think they're going to win a natty, but in your first year with players leaving, players coming, you got the portal, you have nil, you have so much money going out. You have players tend to be that are, better than average, that are getting big money to go to schools. They're not even stars. And so it's really difficult to compete in that thing. I don't know what kind of money they're spending in a portal, but that's an impressive win. And you've heard me say this before. It's college football, college basketball. I pay more attention when the University of Minnesota has a team that's like, not necessarily they're a top 10 ranked club, but just that, hey, they're pretty good. This is kind of fun now. So now that I missed the game last night, I got to be honest with you, I knew they were playing, forgot about it, out of sight, out of mind. Now it's one of those things when you do the programming predicament, it's going to be hard for me to say, I don't want to watch the Gophers because the team looks good. I like it. It's fun. It's more fun to pay attention to college basketball when your team's playing well.
I think ultimately when you only have 7 players in rotation, that's probably not sustainable long term.
Right. Correct.
But at least it's they're going to pique the interest of the fan base a little bit and might be a nice stepping stone for next year as well in terms of, you at least got to show you're relevant and competitive if you want to be able to go out in the portal and be able to recruit compared to where they were the last couple of years. So
correct.
It's a good sign.
Absolutely.
Question number 2.
It's now time to take an in-depth look at the welfare of the Wolves.
The Wolves held Miami to just 36% shooting in a 122-94 win over the Heat last night at Target Center. The Wolves had 6 players in double figures, led by Anthony Edwards with 26 points. Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert each had double-doubles, and Jaden McDaniels added 19. Common, what sticks out to you from last night's Wolves win?
We're stacking and gelling. We're gelling and stacking. We're stacking wins. We're starting to gel. Starting to play like you're supposed to play. And that Miami team's not the dregs. They're 4 or 5 games, 6, 7 games over 500. That's a decent club, at least record-wise. People think I harbor resentment or the Wolves, or don't like the Wolves, or wish ill will on them. That's not even the case at all. I just get frustrated when a team that's been to the Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row, when you hear comments out of the locker room earlier in the year about, well, we really don't seem like we want to play these games. And, that's Timberwolves basketball and this and the other thing. And I guess it's human nature. I guess that we're not the only club in the association that seems to mail in games and doesn't give it their all. I find it, I don't want to say disturbing, but I don't like it at all. I just feel like when you're playing 82 games in a season and you're making the money you are, and you have all the you have all the benefits of playing in the association with the travel and the lodging and the massage there, all of that stuff. You can't just go out every night and put it all together, really. But this is nice because really at the end of the day, here's what I'll tell you. Because they don't take all the regular season games seriously, then I don't either. I don't take any of them seriously. I just wait till we get the programming predicament.
It's April.
Yeah. Once we get to April, and all of a sudden it's like maybe late in the year we're positioning for
seeding.
A seeding. I'll watch a few games, and once the postseason starts, I'll watch for sure. It's going to be a main topic here on the radio station. Matter of fact, it looks like we're going to have 2 winter sports teams that are going to be competing for our attention, for our affections tend to be. And it's like, the better you play, and I know both organizations deeply want the common man in Tennessee to pay attention and talk about them. It's very important to them. And so, it's like, when you have, the very attractive girl and everybody is trying to vie for her affections, right? All the guys, that's what they have to do to us, Tennessee. Whoever plays better will get the more attention. So, but yeah, I like, this is better. We'll see how it goes as the days, the weeks, and the months progress.
Follow-up question.
According to Jake Fisher, the Timberwolves are open to trading Rob Dillingham. Fisher said, quote, "I've heard, by the way, that parting with Dillingham is indeed on the table. The Wolves were certainly aggressive in acquiring the number 8 overall pick in the 2024 NBA draft to select Dillingham, but he simply hasn't been able to fill Minnesota's playmaking needs as quickly as hoped and could well benefit from a change of scenery. Common, would you like the Wolves to deal Dillingham?"
Well, what to me, just what it says is obviously I don't know if it's, he will do better with a change of scenery. What they're saying is we made a mistake.
Yeah.
We should not have drafted him. We expected more. I mean, didn't they move up to get him at number 8?
Yes.
And
they were already low on draft picks after the Gobert.
And so that's you're admitting it was a failure, and I don't know what you get for him. I mean, unless there is somebody else in the league, there's another organization, another GM, or another coach that says, "Oh, they're not."
They're point guard whisperers.
Yeah, exactly. That they've not handled this kid correctly. But yeah, I just think it's not a good sign at all, and I don't think they'll get much for him. But the GM is considered He's considered. I mean, look what he did with Denver. He got Denver to heights they'd never been at before, and he's pretty much he's made some what were considered kind of crazy trades here with the Wolves to get Gobert, to trade Big Meow, and the team has gone to the Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row. So he's oftentimes been able to pull a rabbit out of his hat. We'll see if he can do it again.
Question number 3. And now it's time to go in the trenches.
After 18 seasons, John Harbaugh was fired by the Baltimore Ravens yesterday after an 8-9 season. Under Harbaugh, the Ravens went 193 and 124, and of course, he led Baltimore to a big game title in 2012. Commentary surprised that John Harbaugh was fired.
When I saw the story it first broke, I thought he just resigned. I thought I've had enough. And I guess I am surprised, but when I took a deeper dive into the story, most of his success came in his first 5 years, right? I think did he get
playoff success?
Right, that's what I mean.
He's
success.
had a lot of regular season success.
But that's what I mean. But postseason success, where he won his big game, got to conference championships. Since then, the postseason hasn't been kind to the Ravens, and it's the old, you can't fire the whole team, right? So, I guess I was surprised. Nothing shocks me anymore, but I was certainly surprised. I thought he resigned when it was first. When I read the headline that he's no longer with the Ravens, I thought the first headline I saw didn't say fire, just said he's gone. I thought he resigned. So, yeah.
Still seems odd to me. I get like postseason, they haven't been great in recent years. But, I mean, regular season, they've been one of the best teams in football, other than the Kansas City Chiefs, over the last 5, 6, 7 years. They've been unbelievable.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson was hurt for a decent stretch of the season, and they weren't winning games when he was out. And he's a missed 44-yard field goal away from getting the team into the playoffs, and who knows what would have happened if they got in the playoffs. So it still seems a little rash, a little unfortunate to me.
Yeah. I think it'll be fine.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 questions. Well, actually, 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
Controversial Vikings news on the other side of the break. Also, we take the 5 C's here. We take compliments, concerns, comments, complaints, and questions. I got a doozy for a complaint. We'll get to that other side of the break. It's the Common Man program along with Tennessee right here on the Fan.
Teacher who made a difference? Now's your chance to say thanks with iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by Donors Choose. Nominated Outstanding Public School Teacher to win $5,000 for classroom supplies. This week's winner is Alexandra Maraca, a general music teacher at Red Rock Elementary School. Nominated teacher to thank today at iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
I love eating healthy again. It's been a long time. 30 pounds, 60 days, and I've kept it off for another 60. I know you're happy for me. We take the 5 C's here, and we take them in various ways. You can call us, 1-800-320-5326. I don't think the phone works, and we forgot to pay our bill, so we don't even answer the phone much anymore, except for the Connecticut Water Systems hotline. I should have mentioned Matt Walker, head coach of the University of Wisconsin at River Falls. They won the Natty. We had him on. He was on courtesy of our Connecticut Water Systems hotline. Booth at KFAN.com, the email address. That's sort of like the carrier pigeon nowadays with the way technology is advanced. There's the talkback, which is kind of cool. We'll get back to that. We usually do a Tuesday, where we try to do a Tuesday talkback. iHeartRadio app, download it, put it on your preset, find the fan, tap the microphone icon, 30 seconds or less to deliver a message. And then there's the ever popular Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. This one says, this is from the 701. Is that Fargo? I think Fargo.
I think that might be correct, yeah.
He says, you're unlistenable. Had to turn you off. Sorry. Why are you apologizing? I texted him back, no problem. You're not the first. I mean, does he act like he's the first person to think I'm unlistenable?
Thanks for letting us know, Tim.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we're happy for you. I mean, that's okay. We'll be fine, again. So now our listenership has gone from 5 to 4. Okay, we have 534 listeners. We have, instead of 5, we have 4. We're fine with that. We'll make do, but I do appreciate you letting us know that you've had all you can stands, and I can't stands no more. And again, that Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line is a great way to reach out to us. A couple of things that I wanted to get to, Tenneby, including I was reading I prescribe to a lot of different websites: USA Today, New York Times, Fish Wrap, East and West, The Athletic, ESPN, Playboy, Penthouse, and Lick My Whip. Also, Variety, and a headline says, Tenneby, Jimmy Kimmel Live to decrease music performances to a variable number per week. Apparently, I've never watched Jimmy Kimmel. I don't watch late night. The last time I watched Letterman was still in the business. I saw Conan jump up and down a bunch of times where he'd stand there in the middle of the stage, put his hands on his side, and he would jump. And then I said, well, I can watch my boys do that, and I don't have to spend time watching TV. So I've never watched Jimmy Kimmel, but it says, in a move that reflects the downsizing of late night TV, ABC's Jimmy Kimmel Live will be decreasing its music performances in the coming weeks. And I was going to talk about this with Brian Oak with Rock Talk, but he couldn't make it in today. The Hollywood Reporter cited sources saying music performance will be cut back to twice a week, but Variety source said the number is more likely to vary. However, the show will no longer feature musical performances every night it airs. Apparently, budget considerations played a role. I didn't know that. I mean, I don't know what the budget would be like. I mean, if they asked Meat Sauce and the Wailers to play, I think they'd just be dying to get there. They would pay them to play, right? I mean, that's... I know that these late night shows don't have the viewership they used to back in the days of Letterman and Carson and Jack Parr. But I don't even see where, I don't know. I guess they have to pay these bands to show up.
Of course.
Right? But I wouldn't think so. To me, it would be like, hey, you got a chance to give you some additional exposure. We didn't pay Matt Walker to come on the radio today. Matt Walker got to talk about the success of his team. It was a wonderful thing. I know it's different. You can say it's apples and oranges, but if you're like, give me a current band that's really popular, not the Beatles, because that's about as far as I go. Do you
a current band?
Yeah, you're kind of out of the music scene too as well.
It's pretty sad I can't come up with a band.
But especially an up and coming kind of a band that's just maybe they've charted for the first time. Wouldn't they want to be on the Jimmy Kimmel show and would do it for free? But anyway, that's not the point. What for me? It says only Jimmy Fallon's Tonight Show will regularly feature musical guests. But here's I just find this funny. It says Variety reported last month that Kimmel and ABC parent company Disney struck a new deal that will keep him as the host of ABC's Jimmy Kimmel Live. Well, yeah, if the show's going to be called Jimmy Kimmel Live, he's got to be the host, doesn't he? I mean, you're not going to go, time for Jimmy Kimmel Live starring Tenneby. I just found that funny. It says,
I would help their budget cuts, though.
You would, because you do it.
I do it for significantly less.
Yeah. ABC Jimmy Kimmel Live he struck a new deal that will keep him the host of ABC's Jimmy Kimmel Live for another year. Well, he's got to be the host if they're going to call it Jimmy Kimmel Live. Now, you talk about free. No money, no funny is what I say. Ticket sales are starting to pick up a bit, and we're going to do some ticket giveaways here starting next week for Flop, Sweat, and Tears. It's the 2025, 2026. We've dialed back our performances. You get to a point where you're so highly successful that when you do a tour, you don't work as much anymore. It's not like, Sauce and I and Larry Mondello guy got to just pound the pavement and put out a show, as often as we possibly can. We got a reputation. People know who we are, right? Petty Theft Tour. We had one show earlier this year and one only. That was up at New London Spicer. And now we're doing 2 shows, and that might be it for this year. And if you're in the Rochester area, how lucky you are. Because we're going to be there on January 31st at the Eagles Club. They said I'd never worked the Eagles Club. They said, oh, sure, you can work Jimmy Kimmel Live, and you can work, the New Hope Cinema Grill, and you can work Bullwinkles, and you can work the Caboose. But you can work Bogarts. You can work at the Mermaid. but you'll never work the Eagles Club in Rochester. Well, guess what? We're there. Tickets available at commonmanbook.com. I've taken that site. I haven't changed the name of it yet. You know, I was going to go with Tennessee, Esoteric Entertainment. It's taken already.
Really?
Yeah.
You've got to
You'd be
kidding
amazed
me.
at the, are they called URLs?
URLs.
URLs are called URLs, I guess. You'd be amazed. You can't.
Oh, yeah.
I'm writing a movie. Well, of course, I was writing a movie. I haven't touched it in 2 years now. I found out it's a lot harder to write a movie than I thought. But
Do you think, by the way, that all those URLs are taken, or do you think the companies that own those URLs act like they're taken so they can raise the rates on you?
it's a good question. You're a lot like me in this way. Very cynical. Yeah, I'm very cynical. I wonder about that. Well, I was looking. I'm doing a movie that has a sort of a boxing theme. So I thought, well, I can do, so I thought of all the different boxing cliches or boxing terms. Google it. Used already for a book. Used already for a movie. Used already for a TV show. Used here. Used there. Used there. It's amazing. I finally found one, and I'm going to keep it secret because, of course, by the time I go for it, it might be gone now, but I'm going to keep it secret.
DustyTrunks.com.
DustyTrunks.com, WillieGetUp.com. So, anyway, I wanted to do Esoteric Entertainment. It's taken already.
How's that possible?
I don't know. Somebody decided it would be a great name for a production company. And they call it Esoteric Entertainment. I thought it was genius. I was so excited because, I take the esoteric approach to sports. Sports is your whole life, just sports. I can see why the listener thought this is unlistenable. He said I was unlistenable today. I find it fascinating.
Today?
Yeah. Well,
Just
today,
today?
yeah. I find it fascinating, quite frankly. So anyway, you can get tickets at commonmanbook.com, commonmanbook.com. And then we're going to be in Mankato on the 21st of February. That's a Saturday. The legendary Cato Ballroom, catoballroom.com/tickets is your place to get tickets for that. Did I talk about this on the air? Kara, who's our, she's in charge of social. Digital social. I don't know if it was her idea, but she came up with, they asked each member of the air staff suggesting a New Year's resolution for somebody else on the air staff. Well, I got selected by like 3 or 4 people, including you. And you said something like you wish I would prepare what I'm going to say at least 5 seconds before it comes out of my mouth. And probably what you meant is what people are experiencing right now. Because I'm just rambling trying to get to the bottom of the hour break. But
you know why I think you get chosen a lot?
What is that?
Because I think there are some that might be sensitive and get offended. So people go for the ones that are like, I can make fun of this guy and he won't get...
Well, you could be right.
Right?
Because I don't care. It doesn't matter. I mean, I might slash the tire in your car, but other than that, I don't care. And what I did is I said meat sauce. And I said, he needs to come up with some new material for Flop, Sweat, and Tears. By the way, and then I plugged the 2 shows.
You've got to be kidding me.
A shameless plug for Flop, Sweat, and Tears, the Petty Theft Tour. I'm going to dig into something really... I'm about to talk about something controversial.
That's interesting.
On the other side of the break. It's non-sports related, but you want to hang around for it. It's like a powder keg. It's about to explode. We'll do it next here on The Fan.
KFAN welcomes some great shows to Grand Casino Arena in the next year. Rascal Flatts will be there on January 23rd and Eric Church on February 7th. Tickets are on sale now. Get the complete details on all our upcoming shows on the concert page at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Eric Church. Do you think that's a fake name? Church?
Yes.
Why didn't he? Do you think he considered Eric Chapel? Church and a chapel. Said, let's go with Chapel. Remember George Chapel?
I do remember him.
That's the legendary Dark Star. His real name, George Chapel. Several text messages have come into the Bradshaw Bryan KFAN text line. This one says, me boy, I know you don't want to give away the plot, but is your boxing movie about Tennessee fighting a junior flyweight women's boxer? No, that's not what it is. Here's another that says, wrong one. This says, my high school, Mankato East, used to have our prom dinner and dance at the legendary Cato Ballroom. Senior year, my date and I got into an argument and never spoke again at the dance. Now, on February 21st, the petty theft tour, I'm able to have that moment overtaken as the most traumatic occurrence I have had happen to me at the Cato Ballroom. So think about that. If that wasn't traumatic enough to never talk to his date again that night, now he's got to, how traumatic is it going to be when he goes to the ballroom to see Common, Meat Sauce, and Larry Mondello guy. Have a couple of others that I'd like to wedge in here. This one says, I'd mentioned the text messenger from the 701 said unlistenable. I have to turn it off. Sorry. And I said, I'm not offended. I'm annoyed with this one. This does offend me. I wouldn't say unlistenable, but below standard to the point I'm actually looking forward to the Rosen Hour. Now that's a slap in the face.
That's below the belt.
Well, that's, yeah. I mean, when he actually, he says, it's like, and he goes, well, I wouldn't say unlistenable. So he's kind of, trying to not hurt my feelings, And then he says, but below standard to the point I'm actually looking forward to the Rosen Hour. That's an insult if you're looking forward to the Rosen Hour. And then there's this one that says, common antenna, I finally watched the entire 3 parts of the Beatles Get Back. Only took them 3 years to get to it. Was glued the entire time. Was there any one thing that stood out about the dynamic of the Fab Four you took away from the doc? Tenna, did you watch it? What's your take as well? For me, it was.
I watched it 3 years ago.
Yeah, I watched it 3 years ago. It was fascinating to me. And being a Beatles fan, it's like the Beatles are to me what Taylor Swift is to Lil B. Lil B worships the ground she walks on.
Or Beyonce.
Yeah. And for me, it's the same thing with the Beatles. I wouldn't say I worship them, but I mean, that's my favorite band. I just love, when I was a kid, I mean, I'm so old and the Beatles, when I was listening to the radio when they'd go, the latest from the Beatles. I mean, they were still releasing music. I was around then, right? And so the whole thing was so much fun to be a fly on the wall, watching them put the album together and doing the things they were doing. Of course, they had the rooftop concert the last time they ever performed together live on the top of Abbey Road Studios. But for me, it was when McCartney came in and we watched him create the song Get Back before our eyes. He goes, I came up with this last night or whatever it was. And he starts playing, just the very beginnings of a song, and then it eventually turned into what it was. So, yeah, I was glued to the whole thing. There are people that said it was a bit too long because it was like 8 hours altogether, and there was a lot of slow parts. And I said this before. I think was it Phil Jackson, the former coach, that had put the movie together? I think Phil Jackson did it. Somebody named Jackson.
Greatest timeout taker in NBA history.
Exactly. And he put the documentary together. And he had it was 56, 58, 6, 7, he had 50 plus hours of film that he cut it down to, the 6 hours or whatever it was for the Get Back. I could have watched all 58 hours. I really could have. I know I could. If you'd give me access to it, I'd watch it. I'd probably only watch it once, but I'd still watch it. So I loved it. Your thoughts?
I barely remember.
Right.
It was so long ago I watched it. It's probably a little different for you who grew up with the Beatles, was listening to all of their albums, whereas I've been kind of catching up to it late. Don't know the backstory on a lot of their history. So I probably didn't take as much out of it as you did.
Let me ask you another question.
But I found it interesting, and I'd probably watch it again. You and
I think, are on the same page here. Let's say, for instance, you were going to go to Camp Richard, Grandview Lodge, to go golfing. Would you? I think if you had your druthers, I'd be the last person you'd want to drive with, right? But I think you're also like me. You'd rather. It doesn't really matter who it is. I mean, if it's your family, that's one thing. But you'd
other than my family, I'll go by myself.
You'd rather go by yourself, wouldn't you? And I would.
I can listen to the music I want to listen to.
Yes,
I'm not doing any awkward conversations that you're forced into.
You if you want, you can urinate into a red Solo cup, so you don't have to stop.
I'd probably stop at the gas station, but you do you.
Here's what I'll tell you, Tenneby. I stumbled across a story that says psychology says preferring silence during car rides is a subtle sign of these 7 distinct personality traits. So let's see.
Now, I don't go the silence route.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
but you have.
Yeah.
You have
well,
done.
that's it. I guess I do this. It says, because he does, yeah, maybe he does say that. Does he say it's completely silent? Last weekend, I drove 3 hours with my husband to visit his family. For the first hour, we chatted about work, weekend plans, usual stuff. Then we fell into silence. Not awkward silence, just quiet. We watched landscape change, lost in our own thoughts, completely comfortable. Meanwhile, my colleague tells me she can't stand quiet car rides. She needs music, conversation, something filling the space at all times. Both approaches are completely valid, but research in psychology suggests that those of us who prefer silence during car rides often share certain personality traits. And I will listen to music, but I've made the trip, once you get north of that Anoka County line, your troubles are behind you. I made the entire trip there and back without any phone calls, without any music, without anything. Just listen, just listening to the, I'm running down, what is that, Run on Empty?
Running on empty.
Yeah.
No.
Listening to the Russian Beneath My Wheels or whatever. Anyways, high sensitivity to sensory input. As someone who identifies as a highly sensitive person, I learned my nervous system says car rides already involve constant visual stimulation, engine noise, vibrations, and often temperature changes. Adding conversation or loud music on top of all that, sometimes it feels like sensory overload. The music doesn't bother me, but I don't want to have the conversations with people. Number 2, deep processing and reflection. People who prefer silent car rides often have minds that naturally gravitate toward deep thinking. When you think of the common man, you think of deep thinkers, don't you? I mean, you want me to do the Rodin pose? I just did it for those of you who aren't there. We use that quiet time to process recent events, solve problems, or explore ideas that have been percolating. Psychologists call this trait need for cognition, a tendency to engage and enjoy thinking. And that is what I use it for. I go over things in my head all the time. Where I've been, where I'm going, where I'm at. I'll oftentimes use that ride up to Camp Richard to think about my New Year's resolutions, which I just checked the other day. And not only have I broken all my New Year's resolutions, but 7 of the 10 commandments as well. So, because it is harder for me to do real thinking when the music is playing, because I'm usually tapping my toes or singing along or that. Do you ever take time to just total quiet and use time to think?
No, I do not I cannot do just complete silence.
Silent car rides typically score high on what researchers call aloneliness, the ability to enjoy and benefit from solitude. It doesn't mean we're loners or antisocial. We simply recognize that being physically present with someone doesn't require constant verbal engagement. And that's the problem. I've talked about this. It's the uncomfortable silence. I should maybe just ignore that. Like, let's say you and I we had no choice. We had to drive together. I should just say to you, you don't mind if I don't talk to you. And you'd be going, thank God I listen to him 3 hours a day. But you know what I'm saying? Because I just feel like you're supposed to talk. And in a 2.5 hour drive up to Camp David, by the time we get there, I'm going to know who your 3rd grade teacher is. I'm going to know I already know what your favorite foods are. There are not many. But I don't need all that. I just like quiet. But I feel, I guess it's my own issue. Because if I'm in the car with someone, I just feel like I'm supposed to keep a conversation going. And maybe that's not necessary, right?
Depends on how comfortable you are with the people.
Mindful awareness. Silent car rides naturally encourage mindfulness. Without conversation demanding our attention, we notice things. The way sunlight filters through the tree. the rhythm of passing telephone poles. The subtle changes in landscape. Our own breathing patterns. The physical sensation of movement. The heightened awareness isn't accidental. People who regularly practice mindfulness often prefer environments that support the state of consciousness. Now, I'm not going to go that far. That sounds like what I used to do when I would ingest a multicolored galaxy of uppers and downers and screamers and laughers. Wow, man, look at the telephone poles going by. Whoa, look at the way the sunlight's filtering through the trees, man. I've had enough. When I'm driving, I don't really think. I do like scenery. I like going. That's why when, I told the story on Monday about how when our flight got canceled from Palm Springs to Phoenix, we had considered driving to Phoenix. It was a 5-hour drive. I would have liked that. I don't want to be in the car 5 hours. But what I liked about it was the idea that I've not seen much of California, right?
Sure.
So it'd be kind of fun to watch. So I do pay.
When you're somewhere new, yeah, it's great.
Exactly. I absolutely love it.
I'm always trying to observe while I'm driving by, where could I put a golf course? That looks like a good spot. There could be a golf hole there.
Yeah, I do that too. Yeah, I do that too. Where you go, wow, look at, you could have the tee box right up there. Then it would drop down to there. And you know what? That's probably sick, but that's the way I am. There's another that says energy conservation. Not like the gas you're burning, but it says many quiet car riders are what psychologist Hans Eisenach would classify as introverts, people who expend energy through social interaction and recharge through solitude. This doesn't mean that we're shy or don't enjoy socializing. We simply recognize a conversation requires energy, and sometimes we need to preserve that resource. And I'll tell you what.
That's 100% me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does require energy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially if you're talking to meat sauce. It requires a lot of energy. A silent car ride might be our way of preparing for a social event or a destination. All right. That's what it is for Flop, Sweat, and Tears. I got to go up there and get ready to sweat for 30 minutes. And now with meat sauce only doing about 15 minutes, I'm going to sweat for 45 minutes up on stage. Independence and self-sufficiency is another. Research says that people comfortable with silence often score high in measures of independence and self-sufficiency. We don't need external stimulation to feel comfortable or entertained. Our internal world is rich enough to sustain us through a quiet journey. And it is. Now, I can't sustain myself like I can't rattle the pots and pans, so I'm in trouble there. I thought of that before. If my wife were to go before me, this is very morbid, what would I eat? I'd have to go to
eat out.
I'd have to go to Chili's and have the chicken crispers every time I went. And what else could I do? I can't rattle the pots and pans. And then 7, appreciation for contemplation. Perhaps the most significant trait among silent car riders is a deep appreciation for contemplative states. We understand that not all valuable mental activity produces immediate visible results. Sometimes the most important work happens in quiet spaces between thoughts. And modern neuroscience backs this up. The default mode network in our brains, active during rest and introspection, plays a crucial role in creativity, memory consolidation, and self-understanding. So understanding myself can be difficult at times, but this is what I use the silent car rides for. So tend to be in closing. I do prefer a silent car ride. You do as well for different reasons.
Yeah.
You don't mind playing music, but you also would be very comfortable with where you've been, where you're going, and being just alone by yourself.
I like having not to talk. Yeah, to talk. Like, I could go eat by myself. I think there's people out there that they have to have dinner or lunch with somebody else. They can't just sit at a table at a restaurant by themselves. I haven't done it a lot, but I would like to, would be to go to a movie theater alone.
By yourself?
And I'll tell you, and I'm sure you've experienced this many times, I find the most enjoyable golf rounds being like the first one on a tee on a Saturday morning and just playing by yourself. And you're like, I don't know what it is, but you know, you're not thinking about another person. You're not thinking about what you have to do for a conversation. You're not thinking about what they're thinking about you and how you're playing. Right? Like you're just one with nature out there by yourself. And to me, some of my best golf rounds are when I'm just playing by myself early on a weekend morning.
I talked to baby brother Peter about this yesterday when I was dropping him off at the Y. He was going to work out. And Worlds does this too. Baby brother Peter's played alone when he was working at Prestwick, you know, in the cart barn. Mm-hmm. He'd go out afterwards like at 8:00 at night and go around and buzz around and play a handful of holes right by himself. And Worlds never plays by himself. And the reason why, and both of them have the same idea. Well, because if I hit brilliant shots, there's nobody else there to see it, which I tend to agree with. It is fun to be brilliant and have people with you going, they're just in awe of you, right? They're going like, God, you're really good at this game. You're kind of just doing the old tip of the cap. But I love rounds by myself.
It can also go the other way, though, when you're hitting awful shots and they're seeing your awful shots.
Yeah. I love playing solo golf. I have no problems with it at all. I'm with you there. I could do that without any problem. So, yeah.
I tend to notice the sun glistening through the trees more when I'm golfing by myself.
And the rustling of the breeze through the leaves. I notice that as well. So I'm with you on that. One last thing before I bring the world's greatest tennis player. I think I got he's on vacation right now, I think somewhere too, before we bring the legendary Mark Rosen in. This is one of those stories, and I'll bring this up with, well, maybe I should just save it for Oak. It's Beatles related, and here's what it says. Which Beatles song matches you based on birth date? Now,
on birth date?
Well, it's the most preposterous thing I've ever heard, right? So, and it says eliminate month.
Does it have a song for every birthday?
Yeah, well, for the number of the day, not for the month. So you don't use the month. You just use.
Can you do my number?
Okay.
I want to do it now.
Okay, well, let's do it. What number is your birthday? What day?
28th.
So let's see what it says for you. Born on the 1st, 10th, or 28th, day tripper.
Huh?
Are you familiar with it?
Well, I know the song, yeah.
Here's what it says. Your birth rate resonates with the number 1 in numerology, which means you embody a fiercely independent energy. Your confident, upbeat energy sings beautifully with Day Tripper, a groovy melody with a plucky guitar riff and an exuberant tambourine that captures your liveliness. You will even recall your own crazy, passionate tales when you pay attention to this song's lyrics. Day Tripper will always be there to bring your spirit. Do you feel that way? Does it bring your spirit out when you hear it?
No. It's fine. It's an okay song.
If you were born on the 2nd, 11th, 20th, or 29th, this makes sense. For me, it's yesterday. Because I'm living in the past.
Yes.
I'm thinking about the past. I'm always ruining the day. Why aren't things like they were yesterday? Right? So this does. It says...
that is perfect for you.
Sensitive babies are born on the 2nd, 11th, 20th, and 29th. I didn't realize I was sensitive.
Really?
That's what it says. I've got really thick skin. I thought I had skin like an armadillo, but apparently I'm supposed to be sensitive. It says these birth dates align with numerology's 2, an emotional and empathetic energy aligned with the moon. While there are many Beatles songs that evoke strong feelings, you may feel strongly connected to yesterday. This heartbreaking ballad will remind you of your first love, your true love, and all the love you've lost. And I guess being the Radio Romeo, I mean, I could recant tales of lost love that would make your head spin. It's sad and it's sweet, the perfect blend only the Beatles could make to represent your tenderness. Aw. They kind of lost me there. And I again tend to be under this gruff exterior. There is a softie here, right? I've told you before, I cried during Kung Fu Panda. 1, 2, 3. I didn't cry during 4. They lost me on number 4. But I did cry after Kung Fu Panda 1. All those animated
all
movies.
The Disney movies, they know how to get to you.
They know how to get to you.
Oh, yeah.
Cars, all of them. It doesn't matter which ones they are. They all do that. So
the ending of Cars chokes me up every time.
Well, how could it not?
Yeah.
I don't even remember the ending, and just thinking about not remembering the ending makes me want to choke up. So
you don't remember the ending of Cars?
Well, no. I guess I don't. Tell me what happened.
Oh,
spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert if you're going to watch Cars. Which, by the way, if you have like a 5-year-old or younger, you should be watching all the Cars.
Yeah.
Lightning McQueen, who's the main character.
Correct.
And then you have, is it the King, who's the old-timer guy, like in his last race?
Yeah.
And then you have, is it Chick? I forget his name.
Chick Hearn, former NBA.
The guy who was like Lieber or Bursich, where if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And Lightning McQueen's about to win the final race. And Chick Hicks, that's his name. Chick Hicks intentionally takes out the King in his final race. He rolls over and crashes. And Lightning McQueen stops right at the finish line, doesn't cross. So Chick Hicks actually crosses the finish line first. And Lightning McQueen stops and goes back and pulls the King and pulls him over the finish line for his last final race because he's like Aaron Rodgers' age. He's retiring. And so he gave up the championship to make sure the King got across the finish line. Yeah, and you get choked up every time.
I guess I forgot the ending to that. I guess I'll never forget the ending to Kung Fu Panda. Our battle will be legendary.
I've never seen Kung Fu Panda.
Oh, Tennessee, I'm telling you,
my kids won't watch it. I've tried to get them to watch it.
Oh, it's so good. Our battle will be legendary. Po. So his name is Po. It's so good. Oh, it's such. And then I saw the pandas at the zoo. They're in black and white. I don't know why, but okay, that wasn't funny. Sorry about that. Legendary Mark Rosen is waiting in the wings. He'll join us next. Here on what we affectionately call the Common Man program, right here on the Fan.